Dear students, today we are going to discuss Unit 12, The Three Caskets. This is an extract from William Shakespeare's very famous play, The Merchant of Venice. William Shakespeare is widely regarded as the greatest playwright in the world. His plays have been translated into every major living language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. Shakespeare's work covers the entire range of human emotions from comedy to tragedy, and this play, The Merchant of Venice, is a tragedy comedy. Now, let's discuss the chapter in detail. Portia of Belmont is an heiress. Portia, who lives in Belmont, she is a princess. Before her father died, he prepared a will with a few conditions for Portia's marriage. Portia's father is no more, and before his death, he prepared a will with a few conditions for Portia's marriage. This was to make sure that only a man who loved Portia for who she was and not for her wealth would marry her. So, this condition was put only to make sure that the man who marry Portia should love Portia, not her wealth. According to the will, there were three caskets, one of gold, one of silver, and the other one of lead, which had inscriptions on them. There was something written on each of the caskets. One of them had a portrait of Portia hidden inside. In one of the caskets, there was portrait of Portia. Only a suitor who chose the casket with Portia's portrait would be eligible to marry her. In addition, all suitors were required to take an oath. If they chose the wrong casket, they would never marry and they would leave Belmont honorably straight away. So, according to the condition, if any person who tries his luck and fails to choose the right casket, he would never marry a lady in his lifetime. This promise he has to take who tries the casket game. And one more condition was there that the person who fails to choose the right casket will have to leave Belmont straight away without asking any question. The challenge of caskets was not only a test of wisdom but also of character. It entrusted that only the best man would marry Portia, the one who loves Portia, not her money. And the person should be of a very good character. List of characters. First character is the Prince of Morocco. He is the first suitor to Portia. Suitor means the person who wants to marry a particular woman. Next, Portia. Portia is the princess and heiress of Belmont. Next is Nerissa. She is lady in waiting to Portia. She is a servant of Portia. The Prince of Aragon. This is the next suitor. Other servants and Bassanio. Bassanio is a young man in love with Portia. Now let's study Act 2. In this, we will study parts of Scene 1 and Scene 7. This scene takes place in Belmont, Portia's house. Flourish of cornets means with the sound of trumpets. Enter the Prince of Morocco, a tawny Moor. Tawny Moor means a dark skinned Northwest African. All in white, he has worn white clothes and 3 or 4 followers accordingly. With Portia, Nerissa, and Train. Portia, Nerissa, and others are in attendance when Prince of Morocco enters with his followers. Prince of Morocco. Mislike me not for my complexion, the shadowed livery, of the burnished sun, to whom I am a neighbor and near bred. I tell thee, lady, this aspect of mine hath feared the valiant. Here, the Prince of Morocco asks Portia not to dislike him because of the color of his skin. He has shadow colored skin, he has dark colored tanned skin because of the burning sun in Africa. When he says, I am a neighbor and near bred, he means that he is an African where the sun is very hot. He tells her that his face has frightened brave men. Valiant means brave. By my love, I swear, the best regarded ladies of our clime have loved it too. And this is the reason why many of the best women in Morocco have fallen in love with him. I would not change this hue. Hue means color. Except to steal your thoughts, my gentle queen. And he says he would not change the color of his skin for anything except to have Portia think kindly of him. Portia. In terms of choice, I am not solely led by nice direction of a maiden's eyes. The lottery of my destiny bars me the right of voluntary choosing. Here, Portia says that when it comes to choosing a husband, she cares about more than just looks. Means looks doesn't matter for her. But Portia's destiny is to be decided by a game of chance, by a lottery of caskets. So she cannot choose for herself. But if my father had not scanted means limited me, and has me by his wit to yield myself his wife, who wins me by that means, I told you, yourself renowned prince, then stood as fair as any other comer I have looked on yet for my affection. Further, she says, if her father had not confined her or limited her of that right, of the right of choosing her husband, then the Prince of Morocco would have had just as much chance as any other potential suitor. Then also, Prince of Morocco uh, would have appeared as fair as any candidate for her affection that she have yet looked upon. Prince of Morocco. Even for that, I thank you. Therefore, I pray you, lead me to the caskets to try my fortune. By this scimitar means sword, that slew the Sophie and a Persian prince, that won 3 fields of Sultan Solomon, I would oversteer the sternest eyes that look, outbrave the heart most daring on the earth, pluck the young feeding cubs from the she bear, yea, mock the lion when roars for prey to win the lady. Here, the prince thanks Portia and makes her a promise on the sword with which he killed the Sophie, Shah of Persia, and another Persian prince, and with which he won 3 battles against the Turkish Sultan Suleiman. Suleiman II. He swears to stare down the sternest eyes in the world, be braver than the most daring man on earth, steal bear cubs from their mother, and even mock a roaring lion, all to win Portia. Here, Prince of Morocco tries to impress Portia by telling her that how brave he is and he is the one who can do anything to win Portia. Portia, you must take your chance and either not attempt to choose at all or swear before you choose. If you choose wrong, never to speak to lady afterward in way of marriage, therefore be advised. In these lines, Portia warns Prince of Morocco that either he must not take the task at all or promise that if he chooses the wrong casket, then he will never speak to her about marriage again and he'll leave Belmont as per the condition without asking any question. Prince of Morocco, nor will not come bring me unto my chance. Prince of Morocco agrees to the conditions and promises that he will never again speak to any lady on subject of marriage if he chooses wrong casket. Then he requests Portia to take him to the place where he might take his chance of choosing the caskets. Portia to Nerissa. Go, draw aside the curtains and discover the several caskets to this noble prince. Now make your choice. Here, Portia asks her lady in waiting, Nerissa, to draw the curtain and show the several caskets to Prince of Morocco and asks Morocco to make his choice. Prince of Morocco, the first of gold. Who this inscription bears, who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. Prince of Morocco looks at the first casket, which is made of gold, and bears the inscription, who chooses me shall gain what many men desire. The second, silver, which this promise carries, who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. Then he looks at the second casket, which is made of silver, and the inscription on it reads, whosoever chooses me shall gain as much as he deserves. The third, dull lead with warning, all as blunt. Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. And the third casket is plain lead and its inscription is equally plain and we can say it is a warning. Whosoever chooses me must give and risk all that he possesses. How shall I know if I do choose the right? After reading the inscription on the three caskets, the Prince of Morocco is confused that which casket he should choose. Portia, the one of them contains my picture, Prince. If you choose that, then I am yours with hell. Portia says, the right one contains my picture, Prince. And if you choose that one, then I am yours along with it. Prince of Morocco, what says this leaden casket? Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. Must give for what? For lead? Hazard for lead? This casket threatens men that hazard all do it in hope of fair advantages. The prince looks at the casket of lead and says, what it on this leaden casket? Whosoever chooses me must give and risk all that he possesses. Give everything. And for what? For a casket of lead? Would anyone risk so much for the sake of lead? This casket gives a threat. Men who risk their all do so in the hope of a rich gain. A golden mind stoops not to shows of dross. I'll then nor give nor hazard aught for lead. Further he says, a golden mind does not low down, does not bend down to choose what is worthless, what is useless. So he decides not to risk anything for only lead casket. What says the silver with her hue? Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. Then he looks at the silver casket. What says the silver casket with her pale color, with her silver color? Whosoever chooses me shall gain as much as he deserves. Pose there, Morocco, and weigh thy value with an even hand. Prince of Morocco stops near the silver casket and analyze his own merits and qualities with imperial consideration, with the serious consideration. Thou beast, rated by thy estimation, thou dost deserve enough, and yet enough may not extend so far as to the lady, and yet to be afeard of my deserving were but a weak disabling of myself. Here the prince thinks if he were to judge himself, he'd think that he deserved quite more. But quite more may not be enough to win over Portia. He thinks this thought may be underestimating himself. As much as I deserve, why that's the lady. I do in birth deserve her, and in fortunes, in graces, and in qualities of breeding, but more than these, in love I do deserve. He believes he deserves the lady herself because of his noble birth, wealth, good graces, breeding, and most of all, the love he has for Portia. What if I strayed no farther, but chose here? Let's see once more this saying graved in gold. Who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. Why, that's the lady. All the world desires her. Deliver me the key. Here do I choose and thrive, I as I may. Then he says, what if he hesitates no further, but decides on that casket? Let him see once more the inscription written on the golden casket, which reads, he who chooses me shall gain what many men desire. Why, that is certainly Portia, for all the world desires her. After reading the inscription on the golden casket, he thinks that Portia is the woman who is desired by the entire world. So he chooses the gold casket and asks for its key. Portia, there, take it, prince, and if my form lie there, then I am yours. He opens the golden casket. Portia says, there is the key, take it, prince, and if my picture is inside, then I am yours. After this, the prince unlocks the golden casket. Prince of Morocco, oh hell, what have we here? A carrion death, within whose empty eye there is a written scroll. I'll read the writing. When Prince of Morocco opens the gold casket, he finds a dead skull, within whose hollow eye socket there is a roll of paper with writing. And he says, he regrets and says he would read the writing. All that glitters is not gold. Often have you heard that told. Many a man his life hath sold, but my outside to behold. Gilded tombs do worms enfold. Had you been as wise as bold, young in limbs, in judgment old, your answer had not been inscrolled. Fare you well, your suit is cold. Means all that glitters is not gold. Many men have given up their lives just to see the outer appearance, but golden tombs contain nothing but worms. If you had been as wise as you were bold, if you had been as wise as you were brave, with the strength of youth in your body, but the good judgment of old age in your mind, you would not have chosen this casket. Farewell, your attempt to win Portia is unsuccessful. Cold indeed and labor lost. Then farewell, heat and welcome frost. Portia, adieu. Exit with his train, flourish of cornets. Here, the Prince of Morocco is saddened. He says goodbye to his passion, accepts loneliness, solitude as his fate, his fortune, and takes leave of Portia. Portia, a gentle riddance. Riddance means relief. Draw the curtains, go. Here, Portia says that Prince of Morocco was a gentle fellow, but still, they have got a good relax, good relief. Draw the curtains and let's go. Exeunt means they all go out. Children, that's all for today. I hope you have understood the explanation till here. Thank you.